So today's question is from my brother, Shaun O'Neill. How do you navigate the impact and influence negatively and positively that happens when you're a man on purpose in the relationships that you have pertaining to your family members, your partner, and your friends? So my very first piece of this transmission is, what is a man on purpose? So a man on purpose is a man that has been living life and then found a certainty within himself that is like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet. And those purposes, we can have a purpose that like goes for 6 months, 3 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years. And so we continually have different purposes, but we've like got this certainty where like, this is what I want to do. And so a lot in this moment right now, a lot of men that are finding like they're on purpose and they're with purpose is they come from this place in their heart that they want to give back to humanity in a certain way. So they want to help others. So it's like if they're experts in their field or using their pain and how they move through their pain and adversity and helping other people move through that a lot faster than what they did. So being on purpose, being of service and helping others. Now, with that being on purpose comes a lot of confidence because we are confident within our vision as a man. So like, I'm on purpose, I'm with purpose. Every single day has a meaning. Now with that, if that confidence doesn't come with arrogance, but it's coming from a self-belief, it's very magnetizing. So a lot of people can be drawn to men that are on purpose, that are with purpose, because they're very, like, it's a magnetizing feeling. I'm very drawn to a lot of my mentors because they're very authentic and they're real and they're connected. Their purpose is connected to their every single day life. Like they've created a life in such a way that they don't, that their job is what they love to do. It's like, it doesn't seem like work to them. And so that was my very first thing. That's why I left construction. I just wanted to find why was I supposed to be on this planet, find that purpose and make every single day that. And so, yeah, man, if you found that, amazing. If you're looking for that, you can do it. And there's steps along that way of that transition phase. So now through that transition phase, as you as a man, it can trigger a lot of people. So there's this magnetizing aspect that comes with that of like being a man on purpose. It can be magnetizing for your friends and family and people, your audience on social media, because you're very connected to your heart. Now, with that magnetizing, because there's this belief, with that belief within yourself, I believe that we don't really know our beliefs to be true or our values to be true until we actually question them. And so with being a man on purpose, I definitely would say as a generalization that you would be questioning everything that you've ever been learned and everything you've ever been taught, so that you're not getting told what is true, you're believing that for yourself. Now, in that questioning of what is it, what's true to you as the individual, you're going to be very forthright with that, especially if you're a man on purpose and you're in that coaching or consulting or helping or service. You're going to be forthright with these realizations that you're discovering about yourself. And in that being forthright and questioning paradigms and beliefs, people are going to get challenged. Usually the first people that get challenged are your parents, because they're one of the main influences that instilled these belief systems that you're now breaking through, which is now looking back in all of those generations, which if they aren't emotionally intelligent or aware, can be really triggering, especially in how are we delivering that message to them? They can get very defensive. And then so when a lot of people are bullies and people, when they don't really understand something, they'll attack it and they'll put it down and they'll ridicule it rather than being open and receptive to receive it. Now with that, it can push a lot of people away because it challenges everything. They don't feel safe. Like, who is this guy? I know that this happened with all of my circle of friends. I had some really close circle of friends. I was a tradie for 10 years. And throughout that time, I started studying Buddhism. But back then, I was hiding it. So it was very exhausting for me, the individual, because I was getting paid out in different scenarios. So I'd go to work, put a mask on, go to my mate's place, put a mask on, and pretend I wasn't studying Buddhism because I didn't have that self-belief and confidence within myself, really dialed in and saying, this is who I am, and I don't give two Fs about what anyone thinks of me. I wasn't that unapologetically me at that time. So there's an answer in there to become unapologetically you and not care what the external environment is, how the external environment is reacting to you. So yeah, that very first thing, like the segue to that, is to have that self-belief and confidence that you are on purpose, and that's okay. And the way to know that is to know your value system inside out. if you know what your values are and you consciously know what they are and what each of those values, everyone's got 5 to 7 values, and know why they're important to you, that is how you judge yourself. And that's how you're judging and perceiving all of the world. But if you can know that you're living in alignment to your values, man, you've won the game. You've won the game. It doesn't say that's not challenging with all this external noises going on, but that is then how you're going to start cleaning all of this stuff up. So back to the example I was saying with my mates. I started to grow and rise, be a man on purpose, but then I really started to vocalize what I was learning about myself and challenge about myself. And they started attacking me, saying I was like, I'm cold, all this kind of stuff, don't bring this shit in here. I was just like, man, I need to leave this. This vibration or this herd mentality, like I can't go anywhere here with this level of consciousness. I need to be around people that are going to elevate me and challenge all of this stuff so I can learn and grow, because this was really like my evolution. To be a man on purpose, I was always continually having this growth mindset. So I left that nest, which was super challenging, and I started talking openly about everything. And so these guys were attacking me using comments like, if everyone that on social media if they knew the real Blase, if they knew everything about you, that they wouldn't be following you, they wouldn't be liking all these comments. And now just like, they'd get on the piss and write all of these like nasty hate mail type stuff. So what I did is I shot a video and declared everything I've ever done in my life. So put it all out into the public eye so that no one had any mud to sling. It's like, yep, that's what I did in the past, but it's not who I choose to be right now. Now that triggered so many people because I talked about a lot of heavy stuff that happened to me, which then it was, my mum rang me and she's like, Blase, that video, wow, that was pretty brave of you sharing that. And she goes, don't you think you went a bit far? I remember saying to her, it was the very first live I ever shot. And I was just like, Mum, you haven't seen nothing yet. This is like 4 years ago. So that put a rift between my mum and I, but it challenged it. And she's like, what it did is that she started to realize that I was no longer her little boy and I was claiming back my power. And so being a man on purpose, if your mum and dad are challenging you, the first invitation is to actually know what your standards and boundaries are and to claim back and break up with your parents. Break up with your parents. It can be very challenging. It was very nervous and nerve-wracking for me, but it received really well. And through that breaking up with my parents, what has happened is that we need to recreate that relationship and how that looks. Now, when you do that, some people, they don't want to see this new person or this new version of yourself that's been on purpose, and they may fall away. So what your work then is to be okay with yourself, that when you are walking this path on purpose, following your passion, following your heart, living this every single day, no matter what that is, that you are okay and that you are perfect, whole, complete, and you are always evolving. And the people that are supposed to be with you in your life, they will accept you and they'll grow with you. If they're not going to accept and grow with you, they're not supposed to be there. They're just supposed to be in your life for a season. And this is going to be a really hard pill to swallow if that's your mum, if that's your dad, if it's a blood brother and sister, because just remember that that's just the beliefs that we've been told that we have to have them in our life. Now, if you look at like the stream of consciousness, the flow of consciousness, it just is. There is no right, there is no wrong. Now, that stream is so crystal clear. Now, if you put a rock into that stream, you can start to see the water deviate. And this is the flow of consciousness. You start putting a couple more rocks in there, it starts to distort even more. You put even more rocks into that flow of consciousness, you can't even see the bottom anymore. You can't see the river stones, you can't see the fish. It's all distorted, all white water. Now, he's going to pose a question. What do you think those rocks are that you place in the water? Now, when you are born, you are pure consciousness, you're a flow state, there is no right or wrong as you're a baby. Now, those rocks that you put into the baby, the rocks into the baby or into that flow of consciousness, they're beliefs of right, wrong, up, down, black and white. Now, I think that is for a man on a growth mindset coming to discover his self, as in I am self, inward, who am I? Is our job to pick up these rocks, these beliefs that we have, and examine them. And are they serving me? If they're not, take them out. And it's our job, I feel, if we're on that path, how many rocks can we take out of that flow of consciousness? And so letting those rocks down, those relationships, is going to be super challenging, though you can get through it. Now, example with my mum, for 2 years, it was a really awkward situation. We didn't know how to navigate the conversation. I could feel her anxiety when we were talking to each other and just around everything. The big long text messages stopped. and it's now started to come back. But through that time, what I just want to mention, what I've seen happen is some people get activated and find this purpose and this passion, and they try and sell that purpose and that idea of purpose to other people. Now just remember, they may not be ready to live that. They're where they're at. And so sometimes if we're trying to sell them something, push something onto them, people are going to go the other way. Now, what I teach people is that when we have this purpose, don't worry about other people. Just live that fully. Just live it, because there's going to be something very magnetizing about that. Because when you're on purpose, when you're with purpose, you feel abundant, you feel fulfilled, you feel accomplished, there's confidence, there's happiness, there's inner freedom, and it's all coming from in here, not external environments. Now that, people want to figure that out. Your friends, your family, they're going to want to know, how and why are you like this now? And it's going to draw them back in. And so like that, my advice would be just to be you. Be you, do you. That like no one else on this planet can do you like you, and like live that with purpose. Now, another edged sword Shaun asked with this question was that around my experience and my challenges. So I was in a committed relationship when I had this spiritual awakening, or it wouldn't be a spiritual awakening, but I chose to change careers and find this purpose. Now that brought up a lot, because I also, when we met like 6 years ago, and I hadn't really discovered what my value system was. So in those first couple of years, I uncovered what that was. Then I had this vision and this purpose, and I started walking this path. And so what it did in our relationship is I've changed and evolved, which has challenged like my fiance, future wife, in November this year. It's challenged her many times, because like, you used to be this man, and that's what I've been holding you accountable. Now you're changing, now you're changing. So communication, number one, like communication is key. Now, sometimes, and I know that I'm guilty of this, and some of my clients get guilty of this, is that when we find this purpose, man, and we find this thing, our fire gets lit, and it's like petrol gets poured on it, and it's just this go, because there's so much reward, because it's so fulfilling. We found this thing. When we can do that, sometimes we forget about the people that are closest to us, i.e. quality time with my children, quality time with my family, and number one, quality time with myself and taking solo time. So the negative and positive of this is, yes, I'm feeling amazing doing these things. If I'm not taking time out for myself, quality time with myself, I'm going to burn out, which I have in the past 4 years, burned out a couple of times, and it's been really hard on my family to hold everything while I'm out. Quality time with my children, it's amazing for them. Like the positive aspect of that is like me being on purpose. They're now seeing a different paradigm that Daddy works for himself. He's not gone from an entrepreneur, solopreneur to a business owner, that you can build and create a revenue and a lifestyle through a laptop, and that you can follow your heart doing what it is that you love. And so that is amazing. If I'm not vigilant with my time, then also, like, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? What's the point if I'm not spending the quality time with them? My whole thing was to buy back time, get back time, so I could spend it doing what I love with the people I love the most, myself and my family first. We're individuals first. So I have a vision, Minnie has a vision, and our family has a vision. And it's really beautiful that our individual visions cross over. And so we've had to pause our bigger vision over the past 4 years. I know that you asked about my personal example too, bro. So with my example, so it's been like 4 years now, like 4.5 years, like be 4 years, like deeply committed, but 4.5 years. Even when I had my spiritual awakening, actually I'm going to rewind this. So I had my spiritual awakening 11 years ago, which then I started studying Buddhism and learning all of these different things. So I was on purpose then, again, because I wanted to really look into spirituality. I wanted to look into enlightenment. And the only thing, because I glimpsed it, and the only people that I knew that were enlightened were monks, and so that's why I studied Buddhism. But then through this evolution, growing and learning and consuming, realized that you don't have to be a monk to be enlightened, and there's other ways, and then found about the present moment, and just found like spirituality. So I didn't go a religious background, went more a spiritual background of philosophy. And so I started talking openly at the dinner table about myself, but it was like not selling, it's just like, this is who I am. And I could see all of my family members challenged. and it's like really heartfelt, and I'm doing it for myself. So I hope this answers a few questions for you, bro, and just know that it's a noble path that you have chosen, and for any man that's chosen that, it's a noble path to be a man on purpose, because you're crazy enough to believe in yourself. Just remember, that's all it takes. You're crazy enough to believe in yourself and follow your heart. And when you're able to do that and let go of that energetic real estate, which is the people that aren't supposed to be in your life, the people that aren't ready for you yet, doesn't matter, man. If they're supposed to swing back around, they will, man. If they're supposed to swing back around, they will. There is going to be people continually tell you no. Just remember that no means next opportunity. N-O, next opportunity. And they're not rejecting you, they're just rejecting the offer that you presented. So just remember that. That has been a game changer for me. Game changer, because I used to take everything so personally. And so yeah, that really helped. I've just been staying centered and grounded. So Dale, man, thank you, bro. Dale, I love you too, my man. Thank you for that beautiful comment and blessing. So yeah, man, hope you got a lot out of this, bro. Much love and take care.